Hey, it's Molly. Welcome back to my YouTube channel where I wanted to do a discussion on the energies of Saturn in Aquarius followed by Pluto in Aquarius, because this is an interesting lineup of energies, and I thought it would be beneficial to describe how these energies tend to play out based on the archetypes of each. So to begin, Aquarius is about the collective. What we do together, our unity, diversity, bringing multiple people into a conversation, a topic, an environment, essentially expanding the human consciousness through multiple energies. A way that we really can elevate the collective consciousness by bringing in more ways of knowing, more ways of understanding, thinking, relating. So Aquarius is essentially about how we each know our individual energies and then bring those into collective environments or places where we share with others. Aquarius rules many themes in astrology, including air travel, collective spaces such as sports arenas, theaters, places we go for concerts and venues. It's about group environments, group energies, how we show up and share in those spaces. Aquarius is also about metaphysics. It rules astrology. It rules things that always seem a little bit out there, right? That are a little bit different or odd at first until we go into understanding them more. Aquarius is a sign of contemplation and integration, where we can take some very complex topics and subjects, bring them together, understand them, see how they fit into the whole. So that is one of the ways that we use things such as astrology and other metaphysical studies. Aquarius is also about engineering, technology, what we're doing on this planet that expands us, where we're using these as new tools in new ways, what it means to work with some of these more advanced technologies. It certainly relates to artificial intelligence and virtual reality as well. So this is the energy of collective experiences, collective dynamics, and then it also relates to our individual energy fields. So that's just a general overview of Aquarius. Saturn is about what we focus on, build, dedicate energy towards. Saturn is where we assess, we take responsibility, we make commitments, we see what's not working, we see what needs to be improved, what's out of date, what needs to go. We often make decisions with Saturn. We make decisions because we only have so much time in the day. We only have so many things we can do with our energy. So what are you going to direct your energy towards? That is a domain of Saturn. Saturn in Aquarius is coming through and essentially bringing our focus point to what's working and what's not working in these Aquarius energies. So the example I wanted to use is that if you think of Aquarius as a hotel, where obviously you have individual hotel rooms, but they make a collective hotel experience, right? A building, an apartment complex, anything where there's multiple units or multiple people residing, that's very Aquarian. So here we have a hotel, and Saturn would be the structural engineer, the health inspector, the building inspector. Saturn in Aquarius comes through and assesses that hotel. Does it have the current building codes? Is it up to standard? Is it using the right systems? How is the restaurant working? Are there any health violations? Saturn looks at what needs to change, what needs to be fixed or improved, and what needs to go. So Saturn comes into this hotel, determines what's out of date, if it's up to standards, if it needs to make improvements, renovations, and then basically gives that report and says, okay, these are all the things you need to improve or change. So that's then what we go to work on. Saturn applies the work, applies the effort. This is what you need to get done in order for it to not be in violation or to be up to the current building codes. So that is Saturn, where it's very clear in what is required and what needs to be done. Now, starting in 2023, we're going to have Pluto begin to enter Aquarius. And when Pluto changes astrological signs, there tends to be a big energy shift. Pluto tends to make its presence known and show us what is no longer working. Pluto rules the underworld, what we don't see. It rules what's happening in our psyche and in our energy fields. Pluto is very intense. And oftentimes, when it first goes into an astrological sign, it can bring about the destruction or permanent ending to something that is no longer needed or useful, that's no longer working or in alignment with the current energies on the planet. So Pluto brings about some kind of big message, big energy change that gets our attention, especially when it enters a new zodiac sign. So as Pluto comes into Aquarius in 2023, it's going to really shake up the foundation of Aquarius energies and these Aquarius themes. So going back to our hotel example, Saturn in Aquarius has been saying, do this, change this, you need to have this in place, etc. It's giving you the list of work to do. Pluto enters the conversation. Pluto can very well collapse that whole hotel. And I don't mean this to sound as some kind of intense, horrible event that's going to happen, but it's understanding the energetic dynamics in play, which is that when Pluto moves through, it often destroys and shuts down and closes things in order for them to be rebuilt, renovated, evolved, something new comes up. So while we have Saturn in Aquarius providing the new building codes and what needs to change and what isn't in order, Pluto says, let's just demolish the whole hotel. Let's go into what it's even built on, the foundation of this energy. And then we're going to renovate, rebuild, take what can work forward and get rid of the rest. So it's an interesting energy cycle because that Saturn isn't going to want to necessarily destroy, but Pluto does, because Pluto wants there to be an evolution of the energy, wants something new to be rebirthed or rebuilt. So we have an interesting pattern here that's just good to be aware of, because when Pluto moves into Aquarius, it's going to move in and it's going to come back into Capricorn and then fully move into Aquarius again. We're going to sample these energies. We're going to see where in our Aquarian areas of life that something is not going to last. Pluto brings about those permanent endings, those things that need to be destroyed so that they can be rebuilt or evolved to a new manifestation. So what we're looking at here is how to be responsible with the Saturn and Aquarius energies that are requiring us to do certain things, to assess parts of our life, to understand how we're being responsible with our Aquarian energies. But then Pluto comes through and is going to remove what isn't true, what isn't authentic, what isn't real. So this energy pattern is really focusing on the Aquarian areas of your life. Any planets you have in Aquarius are going to be experiencing this evolution and this transformation. But Pluto moves slowly. So these changes don't happen overnight. They happen slowly. And Pluto can move back and forth across a degree point for 18 months or so, for a good year and a half, sometimes 2 years, depending on the retrograde cycle. So the Aquarius areas of your chart, the ones that you're working on right now, you're aware of, Pluto comes through and is going to transform them permanently in some way. It's good to have a heads up because, for example, with this hotel example, if you just invested thousands and thousands of dollars in these renovations and inspections and new building codes, and then Pluto just comes through with its dynamite to blow it up and collapse it, well, then you're going to be pissed that you just put all this money into something that you don't have anything to show for it after a while. So I want to do this video because the Aquarius areas of our lives and of our charts are going to be very strong, and they're going to gain in intensity when Pluto enters Aquarius. Now, what does this mean for astrology and metaphysics? What does this mean for technology and science and the things that we're already working with on this planet? The new technologies, the new ways that we're learning that technology can work with us. What does this mean for social media, which is an Aquarius domain? What does this mean for the collective environments that we've always gone to, where you've seen a good concert, you've been to the theater? What does this mean? We will see when Pluto moves into Aquarius and continues through that astrological sign. We don't always know how these things are going to play out, but what we do know is that Pluto makes permanent transformations. So how I'm seeing this is that Saturn can give something stilts. It can give it strength. Saturn can say, okay, do this, do this, do this. And that can last for a while. But because Pluto is coming up behind Saturn, there's things here that aren't going to last long term, that are going to permanently change our Aquarius ideals and our Aquarian ways of life. And of course, this also further activates the age of Aquarius energies, of how we are evolving as a human species on this planet together. So some of the perks of this energy is that we can start to see more of what we have in common, how we are united, what we do share. Maybe this can end some intense divisiveness. Maybe there can be more inclusive energies that are accepted and welcomed. The energies of Pluto tend to have long-standing effects. So again, these aren't short, immediate changes, but they're leading to something that can be rebuilt or recreated in a new energy. And that will be part of our next assignment on this planet as Pluto moves into Aquarius and challenges and really looks at some of these Aquarian energies, and we're going to see things ending. And that's what Pluto does. You can assess, by the way, what Pluto has permanently changed in the Capricorn areas of your life and of your chart since 2009. And that is when Pluto first entered Capricorn. And you can see look at how the world of business has changed since 2009. Here we are more online, right? We're more used to doing things online and perhaps less brick and mortar. We can look at how business practices have changed with Pluto in Capricorn. We can look at what's been called the Great Resignation, where people have left work, professions, jobs, because it was no longer a fit for them. That's certainly part of Pluto in Capricorn, which has been restructuring our personal lives, showing us more of who we are and what we're here to do with a deeper connection to our soul mission. And so that Pluto in Capricorn perhaps has gotten you on a new path in your career, in your work, that is in better alignment. And then we see through the Great Resignation energies here that more people are realizing, this isn't my path, this isn't what I want to work on, this isn't what I want to do with my life, so they're changing jobs. All of this relates to Pluto in Capricorn. And of course, there's many, many more examples. But this is a way to look at how Pluto operates as it moves through an astrological sign, is that it changes that energy permanently, and it also brings in something new for us to develop, how to work with that transformative energy in our own lives. So it's a very interesting dance we have right now in the Aquarian themes. And if you have any planets or points in Aquarius, you're going to work with this energy more personally. It's going to be something that you're going to experience in a big area of your life that will shift and evolve over the next number of years. So I hope this has given you some good things to be aware of as we move through this chapter here on the planet, as well as open up to more of our potentials and possibilities, because Aquarius supports us in doing something new and different. It's the cosmic perspective. It's avant-garde. It takes us further. So there will be many benefits that come from this focus on Aquarius, where there can be some leapfrogging, which is essentially we're able to move ahead faster. There's things that we can work with and implement and integrate into our own lives. We're also going to be looking at some of the Aquarian themes, such as, how we use technology in our homes, the role of robots and robotics, how much we rely on electronics and technology these days in ways that are very convenient for our lives, but to what extent? These will be some of the bigger questions that we'll be asking as Pluto moves into Aquarius. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope this has given you some good things to be aware of and to think about, and to understand more of the cycle of energies that we're in right now, because it certainly is not boring. Thank you so much for joining me here on my YouTube channel. Please comment, like, subscribe, share this with others who may be interested in this topic. And I'll be back soon with not only another video for you, but another episode of my podcast. Thank you so much. I'll see you soon.